Hello everybody, it's me, Vertachi, and it's story time. So I'm gonna tell a story about my life, about my first job, my very first job. All the jobs that I worked, really hate jobs. Whatever. I work jobs, yeah, you know. But this is my very first job, so that's why I'm gonna make it my very first story. I decided to just go ahead and go on it because my first job was a typical gamer job, if you would think. One of the typical gamer jobs is there's many gamer jobs, but mine is GameStop. One of the very first places you can work and it'd be okay. You know, it'd be a 16, 17-year-old to work there for the first time, but anywhere past being 18 or anywhere older, no. I would not. I mean, you've heard many stories about GameStop being a bad place to work or how GameStop goes or whatever, but I'm not. I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story on what it was at GameStop, how I felt about GameStop, how I smartly got around GameStop, how I left GameStop, how I went back to GameStop, all of that, you know. But I just want to tell like what it was like for me to be at GameStop, and you know, my GameStop story isn't completely terrible, and it isn't horribly bad. Like I saw horrible things happen. No, because I actually had a good manager. I had a good district area where they actually were honest about things and they actually wanted us to get numbers in pure ways and actually look good as a seller and taught you core values, that to the point where I basically left GameStop and took my skills from GameStop and went and got other manager jobs, which I can make a video about that. If this gets like 15,000 likes, yeah, 15,000 likes, I'll explain how I took my GameStop skills and went and got better jobs off of GameStop, like how they trained me to be a manager, and I went and got other better manager jobs at just 18. But that's another story. What happened to me though, you know, I think I just turned 17. Yeah, I was 16. I wanted to go work at GameStop. I knew you had to be 16 to work at GameStop, but they preferred you to be 17 more. Like, you can be 17. Ah. Hello? Well, I'm actually going to keep that in because I'm talking about jobs, and that was actually my job calling me at that moment to tell me I had an emergency job to do. Yeah, it's totally about the job I'm working now. That's a different story itself. But anyways, let me get back to the story, and I'm gonna leave that in because that's totally funny as fuck that my actual job would call me because I'm on call today and shit while I'm trying to tell about my first job here. Thanks, job. Damn jobs. They just ruin everything. Okay, back to where I was at. 17, yeah, they said it'd be better to be 17 because, you know, most games are already in for mature, 17 plus, and selling it would be easier from a 17-year-old point, and blah, 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 blah. So, freshly new 17, I turned 17 in December, so I got the job in January. So, during Christmas break and everything, I was just going to GameStop. They do all the hiring. That's another thing. He said don't come now because they're doing holiday hire, and holiday hire, they basically get rid of holiday hires. You know, they only hire a whole bunch of people for holiday because there's a whole bunch of hours, extra hours and stuff, and they give them out and they need extra people working. There's a lot of people coming in the stores. You know what happens around holidays. Well, how it used to be back then, but now it's like it's still that way, but we all buy online now anyways. So I waited till after that. January comes. I go put in my application. I'm in there. Yeah, I go to the interview. My manager gives me an interview, and he puts me on. He's like, yeah, you can get on. You sound real good. I'm like, yeah, I know I sound good because I know how to work. You know, I've been working since I was like 8 years old. Not no real job, but shit, I've been working. You heard me? So I get on at GameStop. I'm completely excited. I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I work at GameStop, and hey everybody, welcome to GameStop, where you can pre-order this, and you know the greeting they give you every time you walk in. Hey, welcome to GameStop, because they want you to be like enthusiastic. They want you to make other gamers feel good about walking into a gaming environment with other gamers. So I was excited. I was young. I was at GameStop. You know, my first job. I get to play games. I get to rent games. That's a perk of GameStop. Like, there's not many perks, but that's one perk. You get to rent games for like 4 days, and then you have to return them. And then you could re-rent them again if you want. So, which is stupid. Like, why can't you just rent it until you beat it and then bring it back? We're gamers. What the fuck? But so I'm all excited. And I'm like, hey, welcome to GameStop. Come in. Hey, what are you looking for today? And, you know, if you're not doing anything else, you're trying to find something else to do because they make you do stupid stuff like alphabetizing the wall and cleaning the counters and putting games up. And that was like one thing. Like, I don't know, understand why people didn't understand that concept. I did, even as a kid. Like, the games on the wall, they're not the actual game. You don't bring the game and you buy that game case. You bring the case and they give you the game out the back. Like, they don't leave the games in the case. So I would continuously tell people, nah, don't worry about the case on the wall. Just come on, just tell me what game you want. I'll grab it out the back. And they're like, you sure you don't need the case? I'm like, bro, I am sure I don't need the case. I do not want to stack it up over there on the corner, because you would stack it up on the corner and you would, at the end of the night or as soon as you got free time, you would grab a stack and you would go put it in alphabetical order on the wall to make it easier for yourself. You would kind of put it in alphabetical order right there as you're freaking putting it right there, so you wouldn't have to do it at the end of the night. You know, you're trying to speed things up. So I'd be like, nah, dude, I don't need it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I would try to ask people as soon as they come in, you know, what you need, try to get it for them right then and there. But coming in, I thought, like, you know, this is a selling job. I gotta sell a lot. I gotta get things sold. You would think that it's a good thing to sell a whole bunch, but it's not about selling a whole bunch of GameStop. It's more about what you sell. That was like one of the sad things, you know, that put me down first. Not really put me down, but because I was just a great seller. I just came in young, 17, and I could just sell anything, you know. People would just listen to me and they would just trust what I wanted them to buy, to the point where over my year to 2 years, I had people that came in and they wanted to talk to me because they knew I was going to be looking at what I need to look at, you know. They knew I was going to know what I need to know or advise them what they should do. But they wanted you, like, I sold my first Wii. That was the first system I sold. I sold a Wii, and I was all happy. I was like, yeah, I sold a Wii today. I think it was in my first week. I think it was like my second, maybe third day. I'm like, I sold a Wii. I sold this. I had like $500 in sales today. Look how good that is, my manager. And he's like, yeah, that's good, you know, whatever. I'm thinking, whoa, it's not. I thought it was good that I sold $500 in one day. I guess it's not. I thought it makes the store look good and everything. But no. They don't care about those sales. So you've heard it before. What they care about is reservations and the Power Up Pro card. That's what it was. That's what they cared about. Getting reservations and Power Up Pro card, because reservations means people will come back, and Power Up Pro card means that's free money for them just to get. Like, you just sign up for it, $15, boom, it's free. That's just free $15 for them. That's like you trying to sell something and they're just like, hey, you want this? I give you a little bit off if you get it. And they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's $15 in your pocket as a company. So it's pretty great for them on that side, you know. But selling reservations, that actually wasn't that hard for me because I'm a people's person. So I didn't have trouble really doing that. You know, some days it would be hard because that's what they really looked at. They didn't look at how much money you sold that day, because they really didn't care how much money they sold that day. It's crazy. They really didn't care. All they cared about was getting the extra money, which was reservations and Power Up Pro cards. They did not give a damn about how much they sold on anything else. All that other stuff, the only thing it ever came to mattering was when a brand new system came, but that doesn't come very often. So all they cared was the extra money, which reservations meant extra money for them because they might end up forgetting they even reserved it, and it just gets stuck in the GameStop system, which isn't that bad, you know, because it always stays there as their money. You know, when a game gets stuck as a reservation, this how they said many people would go into their, see an old reservation and take the money out the register and give it to themselves. Well, I never did that because I never knew you could even do that because, like I said, I lived in an honest area of district GameStop. Like, they honestly went for real sales and they honestly wanted you to do the right thing. So I never thought about taking stuff out of the drawer or any of that. Or maybe it was before they hyped up the cameras, because my camera shit was good. And even though they weren't watching the camera 24/7, they could look at the camera, replay this shit at any time. They had a camera on the door, camera on the registers, and a camera on the back room. If you think you was stealing something and they wanted to catch you, they was going to catch you if they wanted to see it. You know, they didn't care to rewind. They had timestamps and everything in that bitch. But I would look at reservations and I would see an old reservation. I'd be like, hey, man, you know, you got this old thing reserved. Or, you know, I wouldn't even start like that. That's not how a salesman starts. A salesman starts by saying, hey, man, what game you looking forward to? Like, you look into their account, you see that they have an old reservation, because this is the thing. Once a game was already came out like 3 months after it already came out, it expired basically like in a 90-day notice. It expired in the system, and it didn't hurt your store for deleting the reservation, because if somebody comes in and deletes a reservation, like let's say somebody came in and they had 5 reserves, but all of a sudden they're broke. They need $25 and they need $25 for gas, and they come in there like, hey, I reserved 5 games over here because some bull crapper told me I should reserve these games, and now I need money, so let me get that back. Yeah, you would be sad, because it would make your numbers look bad. You would be at a -5, and you would have to fucking get 6 to make yourself look good that day. Or it would go bad for you that week in the store. Besides the store manager was the only person it would not go negative on. So sometimes, after it happened to me once, my store manager, he was nice. He was like, if somebody comes in and they want to take off 5 reserves and you can't get them to stop, just come get me and I'll take it off, because he didn't want my numbers to look bad. He was actually nice to me. So the reservations, I would do it like, hey, what are you looking forward to, and whatever. And then they'll tell me what they're looking forward to. And I'm like, hey, you know this come out, you know this is with it if you pre-order it, right? But don't worry, you don't got to pay for it. You already had an old pre-order, so I'm just going to take it off this old pre-order, because you're not, this game, you probably already got it. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, dude, I did already get that game. I bought it at Walmart. And I'm like, yeah, well, you reserved it here, so let's put this on this. And a few times they'd be like, how about you just put it towards what I'm buying now? And I'm like, no, you want to pre-order this, dude, because you want, the skins. No. So reservations was what they really look for. And power-up pro cards, those are the ones I didn't want to sell the most, because I really hated seeing people. I really hate when I go into GameStop my damn self right now, and they just be like, hey, you knew your Power Pro card's been off for 2 years. Do you want renew it? It's been off for 2 years, dude. Why would I want to renew the card? Why are you asking me that? Did you think about maybe I used to work here? Okay. That's what I used to tell them. I used to tell them, I used to work here. Don't worry about it, bro. But nah, I don't do that no more. I just be like, no. Don't. It's true. Don't bother me. Stop asking me. I would feel bad for asking people for something they didn't come in there to buy. Because when customers are happy when they get what they came in there to buy. I don't like when you make them feel good about buying something and actually wanting something. So I like to hear what they want and get them to buy. Not tell them, hey, buy this. Because they didn't come in there for that, and they didn't come in there with their mind like, oh, yeah, I want a Power Up Pro membership today. Yeah, no. The best way to get a Power Up Pro membership, and the only time I would recommend it to anybody, or how I got away with getting Power Up Pro memberships, was when somebody came in there and they bought a whole bunch of pre-owned games. Because it benefits you when you have pre-owned games. It takes the 20% off on pre-owned games, and that's the only time it's good for you. So if somebody would come in and they would buy like 20 pre-owned games, 10 pre-owned games, and I would scan them all. And if the card paid for itself, basically you had so many pre-owned games that once I put the discount on, it would literally just knock off the price of the card. You would pay for the card still, but it would knock off, the price difference of what you would have paid. Let's say your total was $85, and if I put the card on, it'll knock $15 off or $20 off. So basically you would save $5 and get the pro card. That's how I basically cheated to get my Power Up Pro cards sold. And that was the best way to get them anyway. I would never advise getting a Power Up Pro card. If that wasn't the situation, I would offer it sometimes, but man, I would only offer it to the people that seem like they're gonna buy a lot, or they like buying a lot of pre-owned games, or if they only bought pre-owned games. Other than that, it was like, janky. I wasn't about all that. So my GameStop wasn't too crazy. The one thing that made me angry about working there is that the pay sucks. It's literally minimum wage when you come in there. Whatever your state's minimum wage is, that's what GameStop is going to give you. They don't care. They're going to give you minimum wage. Then they're going to give you a raise every 6 months, but it's only like 10 cents, 35 cents. Oh my gosh, that was so terrible. I cannot believe. I was literally working when I was working there when the PS4 came out. I was on like my second year, I think, when the PS4 came out, or maybe second year. And my GameStop manager, just because I sold good, he actually, as the GA, the best GA almost in the district, selling the most, he would give me like more hours than all the other GAs, just because he trusted me to do what I had to do. So the minimum you would get would be like 10 to 15, but he would give me like 20 to 25 a week because I was good. And when we had extra hours, he would give me like 30 hours a week. So when PlayStation 4 was coming, my manager was like, oh yeah, I asked him, that's my only job. I was only 18. I was like, dude, I need money to buy the PS4. Or can I have more hours to buy the PS4? He literally gave me more hours so I could put money down to buy my PS4. So Appreciate you, bro manager. You was real for that one, for real. You was real. All right, I appreciate that. But other than that, dude, pay was terrible. 2-week checks, $250, which is okay for a 17-year-old, but anywhere else now, you know you're not surviving. You ain't paying no rent off of no damn GameStop. Then, all right, I'm a year in, and me and my other friend, he's a year in also. We're both the same age. We're both working in the same district. He's just at another GameStop that's like 10 minutes away, okay? All right, we're both selling about the same. All right. I want to become a SGA now. I want to be able to open and close the store and stuff, you know, and I want to have a little bit more money. It was only $1 more pay. But shit, I'm working here and I'm working hard. I believe I deserve $1 more pay, you know, and you get a guaranteed 20 hours a week, or 25, I think that's what it was. But me and my friend, we're the same age virtually. We're only a couple months off from each other. He gets promoted to SGA at his store. And my manager's like, yeah, I think you should be a SGA here. So I'm going to talk to the area manager, because there's a district manager and an area manager. The area manager, he wasn't too fond of me yet, because I didn't work in his store. I didn't get his numbers. I don't know why he would think that I'm not good enough just because I'm not in his store or whatever. So he says, yeah, let him come work in my store a day. Let me see how he does. I do good or whatever in his store. So he's like, yeah, you should become a manager soon, like in a month. I'm like, okay. It was like after Christmas. I'm like, I worked a whole bunch of hours. I wasn't tripping that much. I had money from good checks, but I wanted to step it up because I knew the holiday season was about to end and I needed more money, or I wanted more money. What the heck? So my manager trained me on being a manager. He interviews me to be a manager, and then he tells me how I messed up or where I need to improve, or what I need to do to answer questions to become a manager. So he trains me on everything. And then while the weeks of me getting trained to do this, I accidentally messed up. I accidentally sold a new system as a used system. Now that's a big loss for the GameStop. That's like a $200 loss or $150 loss for GameStop. So my manager in my store had to eat that L. They don't like to take losses at GameStop. They don't care how much you sell. But they don't like to take a damn loss, because you know you can see that right now. They're bad. They're going off bad. They're going down. But even then, they did not. GameStop hated losses. So because I accidentally did that, which I didn't mean to, nobody told me the walls changed, or I forgot we changed the back walls. So we had the new on the new side, which was previously the pre-owned side, and I grabbed the box. I didn't know a new system was in that box. It was a box that looked like the pre-owned box, but I thought it was a pre-owned system. So I went and sold it, and it was a new system. And the area manager, he was PO'd. He was pissed. He was like, this is what your worker does. Well, basically that let me not become an SGA, because he didn't agree, because he had to approve me becoming an SGA before my manager could. He had to approve any SGA in the area for the district manager to approve it, because the district manager went to him to have it done or get the approval, whatever the fuck. But that's basically why I didn't get to become an SGA right then. So I'm kind of upset. I'm real upset. I'm still making $7.35. Oh, times wasn't rough. I lived at home, but whatever. Still, that was terrible, and I felt bad because I've been working so hard, but I kept going. You know, and I kept going even though I was upset with it. I wasn't trying as hard anymore. They kind of would notice it, and they would be like, "Why aren't you trying hard? Or you act like you're not trying to sell or something." And I'm like, dude, I'm a little demotivated because I'm not making much of chump change shit here. So, yeah. And he's like, but you can't not do your job just because of that. And my mentor started looking at my values as kind of young-minded and stuff. And I'm like, well, dude. So they started looking at me like as a young-minded kid who didn't know or wasn't mature about what he wanted to do. And I was like, I mean, I know what I want to do, but I'm not making much money here. So I'm like, demotivated all kinds of ways. And I'm 18 at this point. I've been working for GameStop 2 years. I'm almost 19. I'm like, I'm about to go look for another job. I could probably find another job somewhere, but I wasn't really seriously looking yet. But until I got myself fired, kinda. I mean, I asked to be off for a weekend. This is how basically my GameStop story ends. The first round, because I went back like an idiot. Huh? Actually, I went back at the second job, but just for extra money and the GameStop, you know, discount, which wasn't great. In the reserves, not the reserves, the renting. Yeah. Anyway, I actually be off like 2 weeks in advance. My manager said, no, that's a hot week. I don't know if you can be off, because in GameStop, not many people work there. And especially when you're in a small area, there's definitely not many people that work there. So we had 3 stores, but there still wasn't many. There was only like 6 people that worked at each store. So most people were already working. It was like 3 or 4 people working a day at each store on that day. It was a high volume day. And I really needed to be off, because I had to go to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Yeah. A big Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that only came around like twice a year. I really wanted to go to it, and I wanted to be off. They didn't really let me off for it. He was like, if you could find somebody to replace you, I'll let you be off. Because I was like the top SGA at the store, so they needed me there because they wanted things to go smooth. And I'm like, oh, but it's not really worth it, because I'm not really making much money, so what's the point of me working that day anyway? I try to ask people to take my shift. Everybody that was off, which was only like 4 people in the whole freaking city, only 4 people were off that day. They were all like, nope, 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 maybe. So I'm thinking, what do I do? I'm thinking maybe just go ahead and go, because I asked to be off. And my manager was like, no, if you don't find somebody, you're not off. Well, I basically went ahead and took my vacation day to go to this tournament anyway. I left the city about 2 hours away, 3 hours away. Shift comes around. Manager calls me and he's like, hey, where you at? And I'm like, I'm out of town. I needed today off, I told you. And he's like, no, you didn't have today off. You didn't have today off. And I'm just baffled. I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but I really needed today off. I couldn't work today. I tried to tell you. And he says, okay, all right then. And he hangs up. Apparently, it was a stupid busy day that day. Like, it was crazy busy. They had things everywhere. He got somebody else to come in anyway. Like, oh my gosh, she got somebody else to come in anyway for me. And whatever, she got good standings or whatever with him because she came in. But she should have took my shift anyway. I don't know why she didn't take it in the first place. I'd already asked. But didn't take it. Oh, well. So this is pretty much my ending because I didn't go to work. Next week comes. I go to work there on Wednesday. I show up to the job. I'm like, hey, I came to see the schedule so I could see what I worked this week. And my manager's like, nah, you don't need to see the schedule. And I'm like, huh? What you mean I don't need to see the schedule? He says, you don't need to see the schedule. All calm and nonchalant. And I'm just confused, like, why? And he says, because you don't work for me anymore. And I'm like, oh, I work for you anymore. So you just waited for me to come to work to tell me? You didn't text me, you didn't call me, didn't say, hey, don't bother coming in this week or don't bother coming in at all. All right, well, I don't work here anymore. Well, all right, later. And that's pretty much how it ended for my GameStop run, which I did end up going back I say 2.5 years later, and I went back as a SGA. I went back as a manager in that bitch because I was not going back to be no damn GA. Fuck no. I was working at the mall still at that time at another job, so I wanted extra money. And the store that I worked in wasn't a high volume store, so they didn't have many hours a week. They only needed another SGA to work about 20 hours a week, and which was only like 2, maybe 3 days at most. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'll work a double shift in the mall for 2 or 3 days a week, because you know, a shift in the morning at one job and the afternoon shift at the other job to close the store or whatever. But I didn't make a good impression on the first day, because literally, like, my first day opening the store, the first time they asked me to open the store, I didn't wake up on time. I didn't hear the alarm at all. And the store manager, he was a little pissed. He was like, man, he was like, do you normally not wake up on time? I said, no. The other store that I work in the mall, I always open it up on time. I just don't know what happened. I just overslept the alarm, man. I'm sorry. And they had not had a late open for like over a year and a half, and I ended that streak. Sorry, but hey, it happens sometimes, you know. It's not like anybody was there. I think there actually was one person waiting to walk in there. Huh. He wasn't too fond of that though, but he kind of was like on me a little bit after that, trying to make sure I didn't mess up no more, or he was gonna be PO'd and get me out of there. But yeah, GameStop is an amazing place to work. And what got me that job actually was my old manager. He actually gave good word of me and what I did at the store, and he trusted me that I was a little bit older now. I'm in my 20s, so I guess he trusted me that I was mature enough, or I matured from then, because he did teach me good values and everything. He was a good manager. But he pretty much gave good word, like, hey, and then he was like, hey, he said good things about you, so I trust his judgment, because my manager, he pretty much could have been a district manager. Everybody knew him as a really good guy, or a really good GameStop salesperson. I don't know why he was at GameStop though, but they thought of him very highly, and they trusted his word and let me come in. And I didn't work there very long either, because I was like, hey, mall jobs suck ass and they don't pay enough. Take that. Learn that from my experience. And don't work at GameStop unless you're under 18, or unless you're 17 or 18. Unless you live at home with mommy and daddy, don't work at GameStop. It is not going to be it's not going to be a good option. And it's probably not a good option anyway. They're kind of going down anyway in value. GameStop might disappear soon. Online gaming is so much better. We only go to GameStop to cheat. And there are ways you can cheat the system at GameStop. Don't let them lie to you and tell you they can't cheat the game system. I'm not going to tell, because this is already pretty long of a video. I could tell it in another video if you guys really want that. But I know ways that you can get around buying stuff, taking money off. And there's another guy on here that already on YouTube that tells like all the ways to get around GameStop or cheating GameStop. Yeah. So I don't know if you really want me to tell those stories. But I did have a couple times I cheated them myself. And it was basically, I was scared as fuck, because I didn't know if I was going to get away with it or not. I just thought they would maybe see it. But I tried to, after working there a year, 2 years, I tried to make sure I covered up any loose ends of where they could see that I did a hoopty loophole for a customer or whatever. But hope you guys enjoyed my GameStop story. I know it's not a terrible ass story. It's not bad. It's sad a little bit, you know, for me. I wasn't making good money. But, you know, that was my GameStop life. That was my first job. That was my first experience on how it was working at a retail store. So, like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back with another story time of my life. Hope you enjoy it.
Be chilling on the couch, man. We just be chilling on the couch, man. Couch, man. Couch, man. We just be chilling on the couch, man.